Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the channel and what I am now calling New Sandling Junction. So let's roll that intro and let's see what's been going on. Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome back. Now, as I said just now, the channel name and also the layout is going to be called in future New Sandling Junction. I did call it Sandling Junction 2.0 in the last video, and that really didn't sit well with a few people, and a lot of people were suggesting it ought to be called New Sandling Junction. So I took that and I'm running with that. So we're going to actually know the layout and the channel as New Sandling Junction. The channel name, on as far as YouTube's concerned, probably won't change. I may do in time, but certainly Sandling Junction, New Sandling Junction, you know where I'm coming from with all of that. So what's actually been going on in the layout room, such as it is, since my last update? Well, I gotta say, I'm still sitting in the same environment. As you can see, nothing really has happened. I've done some sorting out there, and the more room I put stuff out the way, my wife tends to put another box in its place. So there's a bit of a battle going on as to where I'm sort of putting things ready for the build when it gets underway very soon. Now, I'm sitting in here because I sort of feel that I haven't an awful lot to really express to you. Not a lot's been going on, not a lot has happened. In fact, all the work has actually come from, of course, Julian from Station Road, who's like, he's been absolutely marvellous putting everything together, all the I's and the T's, nothing has been left to chance, and the minutest detail has been covered in his sort of exploration of what we're going to be doing at New Sandling Junction. Also, I have to put in a word for James from Donget's Model Rail, who I approached him a couple of months ago because he had this innate ability with track planning, with the way that the infrastructure of the railway seemed to work. He had this wonderful insight, and I wanted to tap into that. So I approached him, and he was really good. He has thrown so many little bits of information towards me and Julian over the last couple of months, which we've employed 99% of them, and the trains or the layout itself have morphed, it's altered, it's become more prototypical in terms of train movements, and in the confined space that we've got, or that we find ourselves working in for the new layout, I think it's come down to an extremely competent and really stunning new layout. And I've got to say that I've had very little to do with it. I've said if I don't like something or I do like something, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty and the I's and the T's, the nuts and the bolts and the whys and the wherefores, it's really been down to Julian, and to a large degree also to James from Donget. So yeah, I've got to take my hats off to both guys, and especially of course to Julian, who has really sort of been a super trooper when it comes to making what we're going to do here an absolute, well, not necessarily a breeze, but certainly a workable plan that we can work on together moving forward. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, you saw Julian's last update on the Sandling Junction, or the New Sandling Junction, where he went into all the bits and pieces with regards to the baseboards and the way that we will construct those going forward. Very complex, because there is, as I said just now, there's an awful lot of space to take up, and in awkwardness, it's just nothing is straight, nothing is easy or going to be easy, and I've complicated that because I'm becoming a very, very old person, that I really don't want to be laying on my back as I did with the original Sandling Junction, trying to do wiring, point motors, all these little bits and pieces that I spent so many hours laying upside down, looking up at baseboards and trying to screw little screws in above my head. My arms ached, and I don't really want to do that. And I want to move forward with this new layout in such a way that I can it can be modular, it will be lift outable, I can detach sections of it and move it, and I can move it into a situation on here, for instance, on this desk, where I can do a little bit of modeling. I can take it down and out into my garage, which is now my studio, which was the former Sandling Junction, but there's a lot more room in the center of that I can put whole areas onto the table, work on it in peace and quiet, and with the ability to sort of stand it out, very much like Charlie does at Chadwick. And I have always kept an eye on the way Charlie has constructed Chadwick, the second version, because yeah, he has a keen eye for making things sort of come apart easily, move them around, work on them, and put them back with ease and without an aching back at the end of it. So I've been sort of looking towards Charlie's layout with the idea to incorporate some of that in the new Sandling Junction, and with Julian's help, it's sort of coming to a fruition in terms of being able to be achieved. So that's where we've concentrated. I keep saying we, it's like the royal we. I have not had too much to do with it. Julian has concentrated all his efforts on making the components fit and work so that it can come apart, can be lifted out, and hopefully that will be the main thrust of the next few weeks when we finalize our planning. Now, you also heard at the end of Julian's lovely little video, the one before the last one, he announced that he's actually paying England a visit, his first time to Europe and England, and he is doing a bit of a railwayman's grand tour of the British Isles, where he is going to see some lovely steam preservation, and he's going to then end up at the Getz show on the 14th and 15th of October, where he hopes to meet many of you guys out there who support him and his channel, and people that he admires within this lovely fraternity of like-minded enthusiasts. Well, I gotta add my 2 pennies to that. I have never ever been to a large show. I've only ever been to pretty much one show. I've always supported my local show at the Folkestone Model Rail Club, and that's on very, very soon. I'm that's at the beginning of October, and I will be there on the Sunday. I think it's just the 4th or 5th of October, something like that. But I'm not demonstrating there this year. Last year I was actually doing a lot of weathering and demonstrating and airbrushing for people and visitors. This year I'm not doing that, but that is because I too am going to go to Getz. I have made a plan with Julian. We're going to meet up and we're going to hunker down and enjoy each other's companies outside of the show, and we're going to probably spend way too much money, meet so many people that we're dying to meet up there, and yeah, it's going to be the first time Julian and I have actually met face to face, and I'm hoping that when I'm up there I'm going to get to meet some of the people that have become friends over the years. I started this layout business, these trains, back in 2017, and I sort of started my YouTube channels fairly soon afterwards with No Name Junction, and many people that I was in touch with back then and have maintained contact with, I have become very friends with and have got a lot of guidance from. And there are a lot of people out there who follow Sandling Junction, and I'm looking forward to meeting and bumping into and having a chat with as many of you as I can get to see over the 2 days it gets. So as I say, I've never been to a big show before. This is going to be my first time. I'm longing to see the Pete Waterman display. I think that is awesome, but to have the whole thing together is going to be mind-blowing. So I can't wait to see that. And I suppose I can wait to spend all my money. I've got no choice. But I'm putting some aside because I'm sure there's going to be a few things that I'm going to come home with that maybe I hadn't done so already. One of the things I am looking out for, and some of you out there may know if it's possible to be done. I think Dave Watson has done it in the past, I'm sure. Oh, not Dave, Richard. Sorry, Richard. My apologies. But I think it's Model U. They do a scanning process of the person and turn me into a little 00 gauge figure. I'm quite keen on getting that done. And especially if I could turn up there with a little plein air kit, a little painting kit, and have myself painting as though I was almost train spotting on the layout in the future. I think that would be quite a buzz. So I'm going to see if I can get that done. And if anybody out there from Model U are watching this, please get in touch. Let me know if it's possible before the show. I'd love to hear from you, and that would be fantastic. And on the strength of that, I keep rabbiting on. I was actually going to put in a little bit more information about other things and another bit of video just to make it last a little longer, but I'm gassing on. So I do apologize for that. I'm really quite excited about what's going down, because on top of all of that, Julian and I, when the show finishes on the Sunday, I'm driving up in my plein air studio called Clarabelle. Some of you who follow me on my mobile studio channel over on YouTube will also know that I've got a VW camper, and that serves to as a literally a mobile studio. I go out, I do plein air pictures, and I use Clarabelle as a base. It stores all my stuff. I eat, drink, and sleep there when I need to. And so I'm going to be driving up on the Friday afternoon to Milton Keynes, and then I'm going to be staying in another room next to Julian, and we're going to sort of go in Clarabelle, that's her name. And at the end of the show, we're going to put all our ill-gotten gains and our money spent and products back in the van, and we're going to head back down to where I live in Dymchurch, and Julian's going to spend the week with me here, and we'll probably see things like the light railway and other things like that. And Folkestone Harbour, I know he's keen on seeing the old workings at Folkestone Harbour and bits and pieces like that. But at the same time, he's going to help me. He's going to really help me, because I'm going to be stuck otherwise. We're going to get on and we're going to make a big start on the base work for the new Sandling Junction. So if there is a time when the ribbon will be cut and the building work starts, it will be on the 16th of October when Julian is here. He's recovered from Getz and counted what little change he's got left in his bank account from that spend, and myself too. And we're going to start building the base work for the new Sandling Junction. So I really am quite excited. Now, before I go gassing on too much longer, I just want to say to you guys, I've got tons of this now. When I did Sandling Junction originally, I did all brand new Code 75 from Pico, and it's all flexi track, and it's all electro frog point work that I bought. Now, all of that, when I took up Sandling Junction, everything that I took up, with the exception of a few pieces of track that really just were not going to come up any other way than messed up, but most of it, all the points were saved, and not a piece of damage to my knowledge was done to any of them. A couple of frogs just to solder back in, but that is not a big problem. But I'm going to be using all of my second-hand points in the new Sandling Junction. I really can't afford not to, and it'd be crazy to go out and buy brand new stuff, and totally ill affordable. But I want to ask you all a question about second-hand track. Now, I see lots of people seeking to buy second-hand track, whether it's 00 or N, or it really doesn't matter, and whether it, whatever size it is, whether it's, you know, 75 or 100, it doesn't matter. I see lots of people buying it or asking to buy it, and I see lots of people selling it. Now, I'm just wondering, with something that I find so really important to me as making this new layout as perfect as I can, would you go and use second-hand track? Now, some of this is so clean, and it looks, I mean, if you didn't know, I mean, there are 1 or 2 pieces in here that have never been used, so they are straight out of the box and were never used in the layout before. But you know, you look at something like this and it looks untouched, and the only giveaway is a couple of broken solder points here where I've taken the feed wires off of them, and I've kept them very well. I've kept them in their original boxes, with the exception of a few of the older pieces. There are many short pieces, but I just wanted to get what people really thought about using old track. I think it's clean. I think it's good. I have seen Richard from Everard Junction. He has bashed the insides out of some of his track that was covered in ballast and smacked it against a flat edge to clean it up and then reuse it. Now, maybe he probably didn't use it, and I can't remember. I did follow everything he was doing at one point, and I still do when I get the chance. Don't get me wrong. I find Richard's channel really an inspiration. But he may have just used it on his mega fiddle yard and then used new stuff for the rest of the layout. I don't know, but I'd love some feedback from you guys as to, would you use this, or would you go out and spend what is over £100 now, a box of 25? And I think if I went down that route, I'm going to need 4 boxes minimum for the new layout, according to chats that Julie and I have had. So do I use some of this? Do I not? Do I throw caution to the wind, or do I like put this on the market, sell it for what I can, and then buy fresh stuff for the new Sandling? You tell me what you would do in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Now, I'm just going to end this with a little 5-minute blast of a video that I made about a year or so ago. It never ever reached the dizzy heights of going on YouTube. It was just a little thing that I had a fad on, and it was my landlord sold me a couple of years ago. He sold me a lovely O-gauge Terrier, a little SE&CR Terrier with sound from Dapol. I loved it, and I've got a little track here, and in fact the actual Loco is sitting there with a few wagons behind it. I will never have an O-gauge layout. I just have this little bit of track nowadays that runs up and down, and I love it. That's fine. But he then sold me about a year ago an unpainted tower model. It's a G-gauge, G1, of one of their lovely brass models, electric models, tower models. Now, I know they were £500–600 unpainted. You can't buy them anymore. And I paid quite a lump for this off of him. I don't know why I bought it. And you'll hear me say that in this little short video. I just love the idea of these different gauges sitting next to each other. Crazy. But I have come to the conclusion, I'm going to put it out there, but I'm going to come to the conclusion that I am going to sell the G1 Tower brass model out on the open market. I'll probably put it on eBay, or if anybody wants to get in touch with me to buy it, they can. It's going to be a straight £500. I know they go for more and some go for less, but this one has never ever been run properly. It probably still needs a good running in. It was bought by its previous owner, kept in a box, he never had any track for it. It only ever got run on about 5 foot of track that I had, and up and down a few times, and that's it. So it's a cracking model in A1 condition. So if anybody is interested in owning one of the remaining tower models that can have any livery put upon it that you want to put on it, don't ask me to do that one though. But yeah, it's there, just get in touch with me. But I will put it out on eBay as well at some point. But it's a straight £500. As I say, you'll find some on offer a little bit cheaper. You'll find some quite a bit more expensive. And if it was a painted version, they are well over £1,000, £1,400, some of them. So yeah, grab a bargain, because you can't actually buy this model anymore. And this is a pristine one, so it's out on the market. I need it to sell it to buy some more track, maybe, who knows. Anyway, I'm going to end this with that little bit of footage, and hope you enjoy that. Hope I haven't rabbited on too long, and I might even put a few nostalgic running shots from the old Sandling Junction right at the end there, because I just love running through some of that old footage myself. It's yeah, it hurts, and I hope soon that I won't have to resort to getting my fix by running my old running shots, but I have to now and again. It's the only thing that I really enjoy that's left to me at the moment until I get a new layout running, is just looking at some of the old shots of some of my locos doing the trips around the old Sandling Junction. Anyway, enough. I hope to see some of you, and all of you, as many of you as possible, all of you, I'm sure, for the very, very first time. Charlie, if you're watching this, I can't wait to meet up with you, mate. You've been an inspiration to me over the years. You've been a lot of help. We've had a lot of laughs on the phone, and I can't wait to shake your hand properly for the first time and have a wee glass of something, even if it's just a cup of tea, mate. So yeah, look forward to seeing you and many other people there that have been an inspiration to me, and those who follow me on YouTube. And with that all said and done, I'm going to let you get on with your day, and I'm going to get on probably sorting through a bit more of this track, maybe running a few of these trains up and down. That's as good as it gets right now. And then very, very soon I will see you up at Getz. Take care, everybody. Have fun. Enjoy your trains. Talk to you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now. Okay guys, something a little different. Now, I do have a love affair on my layout, or in my collection, for several types of locomotives. I love the old Southern Q1, which people call, I think they call it the ugly duckling, but it's several of those. I love them to death. And I also love all the Pacifics, the light and the heavy, Merchant Navies and Battle of Britain class, and one or two West Countries. And I really love the C classes. I have quite a number of those in the fleet, and I can't resist getting more and more of them as and when I see them come up at a good price. On top of that, of course, I think the new D class is now destined to become a favourite, and I've got a couple of those on order from Rails, so I'm looking forward to those coming in soon. On top of all that, I really have got or grown very, very fond of these little Terriers. Now, I have a couple of Terriers from Hornby and from Dapol, and the 00 version is sitting right there. I have seen a little N one where I might get at some point. I just love having them in different scales. A couple of years ago, my landlord of the gallery in Hythe, he offered me this lovely sound version of the, I think it's a Dapol Terrier, and it's a lovely unit. I snapped it up off him at a good price. It's never been run. It's always been kept in the box. He did have it with a view just to displaying it, believe it or not. And but there you go. I bought that one from him, and I have got a little bit of track that I do occasionally run it on. But the other day I just could not resist bringing in and getting this big boy, or should I say this bag boy. Look at that. I couldn't resist it. The same landlord, I don't know, he's got the same fondness with Terriers himself, and although that's passed obviously because he sold me one, and he offered me this one. Now this is a made by, I think it's Tower Models. And I don't think you can actually get this one now. You can get it. You can get it really sprayed up and liveried and all done, and costs an absolute small fortune. This one is the bass brass kit that he bought. There's no sound. It's an electric unit, and it runs very, very well on the 12-volt system from. Actually, I've got one of the Hornby 2000 systems that are running it, but I've bought it at a good price, and I know how much these things cost. I have no idea why I bought it, because I got no G1, although there is a friend of mine locally whose father's got a 400-foot G1, along with many other scales in a large garden area. So I have had the invite to take this along and run it anytime I want to. I just couldn't resist it, and the idea is that when I gain enough experience, I will spray this and give this a livery. I may still keep it, I may sell it on, but I really did just enjoy having this unit and combining that with all the other ones that I actually have at this time. So we've got 3 gauges, very sillily. And I don't run N-gauge either. I did see one of these liveried in a little N-gauge. Almost tempted. But I don't know why I would. And I don't know why I bought any of these other gauges, to be quite honest. I'm so heavily into 00. This almost seems a little bit of a waste of money. But hey-ho, I can't take it with me. And I just enjoy seeing these. I'd love to have some big ones of these and maybe some real steam, and then go to some of these clubs where they run the bigger gauges, gauge 1, G gauge, however you want to call it. So there you are, something a little different, and I just thought I wanted to share that with you. I love this, I really do. I think it's a cracking little train, and I couldn't believe the size of the track when I got hold of it. It is an amazing length and size and gauge. But there you are. Just take it out and run it back again. Can't run it very far because I've only got about 5 foot of track, so it's not going to go very, very far. But I think you'll agree it's a stunning model. And yeah, once I get the confidence to spray it up and give it a lovely livery of some description, it'll be fit for a king. Anyway, more later. Take care. Catch you all soon.